Hello, well, welcome to our first AGM. Woohoo. Okay, there's not many of us here, so we're just going to probably zoom through the agenda. Okay, first on the agenda, do we need to, I feel like this is a bit strange because we're on record and somebody might watch this, so I feel like we should just go through it just for the sake of it. Right, just to tell everybody, we have four constitution members of our Eco Essex. Sam over there is our secretary.
Hello.
Emma, you are our education lead, I think
Hi.
you. And Hannah is there somewhere and is our rehoming expert lead, I'm going to call you. And our, what do you call you? Treasurer. That's what you are.
Yeah,
And then
thanks.
we also have a couple of like ambassadors with Mark is helping us with the rehoming group again. And we've got Sue who's not here. So we've got two kind of ambassadors as well as our constitution members. So, um, no, there isn't any particular apologies other than the 30,000 other members that couldn't come today. That's fine. We won't name all them. But we haven't got any previous minutes to review because it's our first AGM. So this is the first one. Right. So we start with just some feedback. Hannah, are you able to talk at the moment?
Yeah, I can talk.
Yeah, you can talk. Do you want to feed back about the rehoming group? So we know that this is the main group, don't we, regarding engagement and what we feel are probably our biggest kind of purposes at the moment as such, isn't it? Our biggest
Yeah,
achievement.
definitely.
So,
So, to go over some of the stats, there are 28,863 members. Um, there are 8,206 visitors to the page in the last 7 days. So these are people, which is an action for later when we talk about the group. These are people who aren't members, haven't agreed to the rules or anything, but because the group is public, they can still interact and comment. But it does mean we can't block them if there's any problems.
okay.
So yeah, 8,000 visitors. It averages 150 new members a week.
Uh-huh.
And the stats for the last month, there were 9,000 comments in the last 28 days.
Wow.
310, yep, 310,000 views on the group. So that's people clicking on and going into the group, and 2,900 individual posts.
How many, sorry?
2,900,
In what? In a month?
28 days.
Wow.
That's not including posts that were put up but we declined, which is about the same amount again. A little bit more actually.
Wow.
So nearly 3,000 posts that are declined because of things like location
Yeah.
or asking for
Stories.
too many things or things like that.
Yeah.
So it really is the biggest group we run.
Yeah.
Um, it takes, so I was looking at the hours roughly, I've been kind of keeping a check. Roughly, it takes about 4 hours a day, I estimate, to manage. That's approving posts, dealing with questions, and dealing with any problems or issues in the group. Um, yeah, definitely our biggest and busiest group. It's got fantastic feedback in the last year, which has been great. But we have seen a rise in members being obviously abusive and arguing,
Mm.
which was highlighted by our recent closure for 2 days, where we had to take a more serious issue to the police.
Yeah.
But apart from that, the feedback we did get at the same time, obviously, when we shut the group was that it's, I mean, a lot of people said one of the best groups on Facebook, really well used, um, really does stop a lot of things. So, I mean, 2,900 things in the last 28 days have been stopped from going into landfill because of the group.
Mm.
So, very good in that respect.
I was working out like if you get roughly 100 posts a day, times that by 365 days, that's like 36,500 posts. And some
Yep.
people's posts have got more than one item on them. So just think of that amount of stuff that's not been thrown away. It's amazing.
Yeah.
So, okay. So that's kind of the successes and the challenges of the group, really.
Yep.
Okay, so regarding the other Eco Essex group, which is obviously our original sister, well, the original group, but obviously the rehoming group is like the sister group has actually taken over when it comes to size. The main Eco Essex group doesn't really grow very quickly, so it's very slow to grow. We don't get many members requesting each month. And those that we do, probably 50% of them don't answer the group rules and aren't like the questions. So the problem with that is when we discussed it a couple of years ago, we really wanted to make sure we had people that were in line with our ethos, not just anybody. Because the problem is when you have anybody, it doesn't actually help group engagement, it doesn't help the algorithms, all those things. So there's a bit of a dilemma, which I feel every day, which is, do I accept somebody that's not agreeing to the rules and the answer to the questions? Because of course we want more people, but are they the right people? So that's a bit of a challenge with that group, really. I also feel with that group over the last couple of years, possibly just because of social media being swamped, or perhaps there's more support out there now than when we started the groups. I don't feel like the group is being used really. I think people share posts into Eco Essex, rather than it being much of a discussion place anymore. People don't really comment on each other's posts anymore. It's like somebody will share a post and that's it, and nobody really engages with it. So I don't feel like it's necessarily quite the same group as when we started it back in 2018. I feel like there was a lot of discussion back then and a lot of engagement, a lot of support, but it seems to be different now. And I'd be interested to know from members really if they still feel that group is useful. Um,
We do see obviously a lot of like thumbs and hearts and people responding
a
with
lot.
likes and that, but it's not the same thing as having a commentary,
I
is it?
wouldn't say it's a lot though. Like when the group
Yeah.
started, it was a lot of engagement.
Uh,
Um, so I think you get the occasional engagement, like a like or a heart, but you don't, there's not a lot. No. But also, I think the problem with that group is that I'm not dedicating as much time to it as I used to. Like Hannah's just said, that other group takes 4 hours. Well, I worked out a few years ago, probably 4 years ago, that I probably could spend 30 hours on Eco Essex, and it was basically a full-time job. And that's exactly what Hannah's saying here, like 4 hours a day times 7 days a week is pretty much a full-time job to run group. And because I don't have that capacity anymore either, I feel like my effort into the group is less. And also coincidentally, there's less engagement, whether they're connected or not, I don't know.
well, your
Um,
OT stuff's completely taken off,
yeah,
particularly at
you
this
know,
present moment.
the personal
So,
circumstances of
yeah.
people change, and that's the same with any of our ambassadors that have come in. We've had loads of people come in and support Eco Essex for a period of time that they can, but for whatever reason they end up having to leave the role. So that's fine. That's just the ebbs and flows of life. um
Well, I've rejoined the Rehome group again to help moderate stuff because I'm now 3 months into my new lead practitioner job, and I've worked out that I have got time to do it because I've got a bit of a much better work-life balance than I had my previous job.
I think
So
you could get more people like you, Mark, just to do what they can. And I suppose this is to say to people that you don't have to it isn't going to take everyone 4 hours a day. At the moment, it's 4 hours because we don't have the support. But if we had several people, then even just 10 minutes a day would be helpful. Um,
or even five. I mean, sometimes some mornings over breakfast, I go on there, I might see like 9 things to approve.
yeah,
The most I've seen at any one time is about 22,
yeah,
and even that can be quite quick.
Mm.
You're just checking not breaching the rules. You just go through it.
yeah. I think that would be one of our actions really from today is to get some support. And I think Hannah, we've talked about this, haven't we? And Sam, you've been keeping a list, haven't you? I believe
Yeah.
everybody
Yeah,
that
Yep, we've
there
got
was
a
a
list.
few after the incident where we had to shut down for a few days. We had, some people kind of privately messaged to say how sorry they were that had happened, but also to say they'd be happy to help once it was up,
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
up
we've
and
got some
running.
names
So
for us to
I
track.
said, and I think Anna did as well, we'd be in touch after this event to
Yep.
kind of speak to them further.
Excellent. Okay. So yeah, well, if you guys make contact with them, that can be a nice action then, so you can get some more people on that group. Because 4 hours a day, Hannah, is not, I mean, how you've done it, I don't know. Because I mean, as you know, a couple of years ago, I got so overwhelmed with it and I tried to back out of that role because I couldn't do it. And the fact that you guys are still doing it at 4 hours is ridiculous. So well
Yeah,
done.
we're still up.
Thank you.
Mm.
The other insight I picked up on from the when I looked at the report, and this is pretty much standard, it always has, the ratio of gender is very interesting. It's 10 times more women than men. in the Eco Essex group. I don't know about the rehoming group. It's probably a little bit different, but I'd still say it is predominantly women, and the age bracket is generally the 30 to 40-year-old age bracket, and that has always been the same, has always been consistently the demographic, which I just think is interesting to be aware of, really. I mean, Mark, you're here, and maybe that's something we could talk about in future meetings, of like, how do we encourage more men to be thinking about these issues, because that seems to be quite a barrier. But anyway, probably something to think about.
I find similar with my litter picking group, though. It's women in that, most people who engage are women in that age bracket, and I don't know if it's just because Facebook as a medium is used predominantly by that age bracket, maybe, as well.
I did go to a meeting once with Jen Gale, and she said, I remember she was saying there was a few reasons, partly because when women become mothers, so that age bracket of 30 to 40, they almost start to reflect on life and then start to worry for their children. Also, things like just women generally, try not to generalize too much, but generally are the more empath of the two sexes, so that they're the ones that worry more about the future and things like that. And also the other reason was because women are almost the house managers, so they're the ones that make the day-to-day decisions of the house, or like are the ones buying things for the family, so they're the ones that want to make eco choices because they're the ones doing a lot of the shopping and purchases and stuff.
It almost reflects traditional gender roles. That the guy goes out with a big high flying career in the city, whatever it is, and hasn't got time for anything else, and then the stay at home mum with the children sort of scenario taking place there. So I do wonder whether it's linked to those sort of stereotypical.
I mean, we know as well that
roles.
it shows that it is women that tend to have most of the emotional labour in a household, and men are capable of emotional labour, but it does tend to be the women that think of that. So it is the women that make those kind of emotional choices and are worrying and thinking about the future and things like that.
So maybe because I'm a single dad and I'm carrying the emotional weight of my house here, it probably makes me a prime candidate.
Well, yeah, and also, you're with me, so I like
that, which helps a little bit.
I do think as well the fact that the majority of 20-year-olds wouldn't be using Facebook. Facebook is considered a very
old school,
from my a boomer platform or a Gen X platform. So we're not going to reach that demographic, and actually there's probably a higher amount of male young people that are probably more interested in eco the environment than kind of your average 30, 40, 50-year-old male.
What about Instagram? Because Instagram seems to be the preferred medium for a lot of young people.
Yeah, I think but we haven't really taken off. We haven't really dedicated or done a great deal on Instagram.
I did, but the problem with that, like the other stuff, is that because I wasn't getting engagement, I was then putting in the effort and not getting any return for it. Because like it's like the 4 hours you guys do with the Rehoming group, at least that it's making a difference, because you're getting 100 posts a day and you can see the evidence that you're helping people. But when I was doing social media post after social media post and getting nothing back, no engagement, it was like,
am I right in thinking that you can synchronize a post on Instagram with Facebook, but you can't synchronize a post on Facebook with Instagram?
That's right, yeah.
Yeah,
you can do it for Business Week, you can do both. But it just got to the point a couple of years ago where I was like, I can't be dedicating time to something. I don't know if I'm making any difference.
You kind of need a separate team that understands Instagram as well.
I understand it enough, but I think the problem is our target audience does tend to be that demographic.
Yeah.
And I think also people are swamped on social media. Like they just they don't follow like 5 people, they follow 500 people or 5,000 people. But it's a game. Social media is a full-time job. I know people that do it as a full-time job for other people, and we don't have the funds to fund that. or do we have the voluntary time to dedicate to it? So it's unfortunately, I've not done much on Instagram for probably about a year because it just was not feasible. It wasn't really benefiting anyone, I don't think. So, and even Facebook is different, as I said. There's less engagement on Facebook than there used to be. Okay. Hannah, are you free to talk about your treasurer's report?
Yeah, of course. Let me grab my report up. Where did I put it? Oh, there we go. Okay, so if I do money in first.
Yeah.
So in the last 12 months, we've received £206 and a penny. £45 of that came through the Buy Me a Coffee link.
Yeah.
And I think £40 of that was for an event that we went to.
Yes, they gave us donation.
And yep, and £5 was just through the goodness of people donating.
Yeah.
And then the other 160-ish pounds came through the GoFundMe that was done for us recently by Tracy, which was lovely, which was predominantly run on the recycling forum, I think. And yeah, we got £160 through that.
Which was done as a complete surprise to us, which was so nice.
Yes, that was lovely. And yeah, it was just such a nice thing that someone set up and did for us, which I thought was lovely.
Yeah.
In terms of money out, so we spent £100, which Sam went to you for purchasing, I think it was a gazebo, so that when we go to events, we actually have something to stand under and be sheltered from the weather.
Yeah. A pop-up gazebo, by the way, because that was a problem. And Emma had a gazebo, but even events were so time-consuming just doing it up. So yeah, we got a second-hand gazebo. That's what that was for, yeah. Pop-up.
Perfect.
Far
And
quicker.
then yeah, much quicker and much easier. And then we spent the other 175 on website maintenance. So 120, I believe, was our kind of domain and things. And then there was another 50 on, one is our, I want to say data protection, Sam.
So 130, sorry, the £35 is the ICO, which I can't remember, Independent Commissioners Organisation or something, which is, yeah, our data protection for keeping data from people, yeah. For our mailing lists, things like that.
Yep. And then there's 120, which was the kind of running and upkeep of the site, and another £20.70, which was, again, I think it was that's domain, keeping our domain and things like that.
The web host and then the web domain, they were two different costs. Yeah. So the website, how much for us in total a year? What was that? 100 and
so 175 is the up cost of the website. And we spent this year 275 because of the gazebo.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So I think one of the things we need to think about is the financial sustainability. And I think that partly comes down to how much we need. And that depends on if we need the website or not, which we'll come on to in a minute, because that's obviously our biggest outgoing. We have PR material now. So we've got the gazebo. I've also just got a table that we can use now, a nice table for events. And we've got PR materials that we got the previous year. So the only thing that I think sometimes we might need is if we do events, the biggest way I've got people to come over is to have some level of freebie. And I hate it, but it's what works. So we've done a couple of events where we've had eco freebies, and that starts a conversation, and it's, it just gets people to sign up to us and follow us on social media and stuff like that. So I do think if we do other events, we would need a little bit of a budget to pay for some small freebies for people, because we don't sell stuff. You go to an event and everyone else has a table with stuff on it that they're selling stuff, and it's like, we don't have any stuff. We just have leaflets, or not even leaflets, like posters that we've made to look at, and people don't want to come over because it's...
Sam, now that Chris is out of business for all that, who would we be going to, like a refill centre? Who would we go to get these freebies?
I don't know. I think it would involve probably looking online to see what things we could get cheaply. So
Sam, what about seeds, or going in with South East Essex
organic gardeners or someone who do like their seed potatoes,
Yeah,
doing like a seed
we'd have
swap
to
or
sign
something.
it. We'd have, yeah, a seed, yeah, plant swap or a seed swap.
I always collect loads of seeds, so I mean I could contribute a few.
So we did, so over the years, we've collaborated with Pesticide Free Essex because
Yeah.
the members are joint, I was on, a part of Pesticide Free Essex, so we joined forces and we did give out free seeds. But I do personally feel like there's been a bit of a boom over the last few years about bee bombs, wildflower seeds, and it's not the novelty as it was 5 years ago.
I'm thinking more like vegetable seeds. Like
Vegetables, I
I've
like.
just collected up a load of pumpkin and butternut squash seeds. You can put them in little brown paper bags, and perhaps if you can get an Eco Essex stamp or sticker, you could put those on them. So when people go to use them, they think, "Oh yeah, I got that from Eco Essex."
Yeah, I like that idea.
It's like a little bit of branding, isn't it? And getting it
Yeah,
into your
that's
home.
what I'm thinking.
I know,
Yeah.
and this is such annoying thing is that you do need an element of branding. You do. We've got a stamp made, a handmade stamp made by the local hack space. So that's done all our t-shirts and our bags, but it's too big, not like to put on a plant pot or something or a little bag. But I'm sure we could get a little stamp for, yeah, things like paper bags or something like that. Yeah, we could do that. That's a good idea. What we did before, somebody had an eco business and they were going out of business. They were selling, like, getting rid of all their stock, and they literally just gave everything to me at £1 because he knew me well and did it. So we managed to get 40 items for £40, which was ridiculous, So especially some of them were probably worth £5 each. But yeah, like Mark said, he's out of business now, and I don't have those contacts of anyone to give me cheap stuff like that.
I miss him actually because I got a few things from my house from over there. It was fantastic.
I know that's well. Unfortunately, a lot of the refill businesses have gone out of business, so that's just
Yeah.
there's
We're
not.
lucky to have one in Chelmsford still.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Okay, so yeah, with regarding the financial stability, we need to think about the website. We talked about I did apply for Love Essex grant, but they had over 100 or 150 applicants this year, so we didn't get it. Which is fair enough. We've had it in the past, so we can't get it all the time. And we've talked about a boot sale, haven't we, Emma? Where are we at with the boot sale idea?
Yes, so sorry there's been a bit of delay on that. It's because my PTA only recently had their AGM and they changed the chair and things, but the chair is really into sustainability and things, and they definitely want to do it. My problem is that they often meet in the morning during the week when I'm teaching. So I raised it again with one of the members, and he said, absolutely, we definitely need to do that. So I think we're looking more probably at a summer date. And also I mentioned about all the things, like when you did all those lists for the fundraising for that PTAs can do to be, more sustainable. And he was like, yeah, we need to do that more. So the PTA has shifted because the person who was the chair, she just didn't care about the environment at all. But the ones that are now the new chair and the ones that are kind of coming up are very much into sustainability. Like they've always come into my tree planting and my litter picking events and stuff. So that's more positive moving forward. And I just need to kind of sort out when I can get them sat down and with a date. But they're definitely all for it. It's just getting a range of dates in the diary that we can choose from.
So I think the ongoing question is going to be if we decide after this year that we don't need the website, then we won't need to raise much money at all each year. So we wouldn't necessarily need the funds from the boot sale. However, what do we think, guys, about the idea of doing the boot sale still this year, even though we're still a bit 50-50 about the website and stuff? Do we still want to give it a go? Because obviously Emma School are keen to do it now. Should
Would
we?
that be like a weekend event?
Yeah, it'd be a
boot sale?
weekend like boot sale type thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think so. And possibly then we could consider other items, eco items that could be purchased to kind of continue with that freebie idea to draw the crowds in at
Oh,
events when we do
yeah.
the events. You know, if we need funds for that, that's got to come from somewhere.
Yeah. I feel like I'd like to do the occasional event because I suppose I'm proud of what we've done with Eco Essex.
Yeah, the
And
Colchester one was really good, I thought.
no, but I don't think it's happening. The
Oh,
the Eco Festival was such a big event for them to put on. Like,
yeah.
it was such a massive task that
Mm.
the volunteers took last year off, and I haven't heard anything about it again this year. So I don't know. The problem is with events, like we all know, it is just us finding time to do it because it's not
Yeah.
always just turning up to an event. It's the preparation needed for the event. The thought process, the organization that goes into it. And I think that is realistically, I know personally that where I'm at, like I actually work weekends. So I'm not, it's not as free as me, it's not as easy being free. So I think that's the problem. So I'd quite like to try the boot sale because one, to see if it's a good boot sale and we make a bit of money, like for Eco Essex, but also just to see if we can kind of make that difference in the community a little bit,
Could you include perhaps a couple of talks at the boot sale as well?
Well, there's an idea.
Kill two birds with one stone.
And a boot sale slash, like, what could we call it? Eco event or something. It will take
eco awareness sessions,
Mm.
maybe, rather
Yeah.
than, it's not so much an eco event, is it? But awareness of different topics.
I think we have to just be aware of it's not necessarily that we're short on ideas, but we're short on the time to do it. So the bigger an event becomes, the more organising and time we have to find to do it.
Plus, there's the logistics of if there was a talk, we're going to run in the punters for that talk if they're sort of
I guess
circulating
you
to do
have
boot sale
punters
stuff.
there anyway for the boot sale. But then how are they going to be a niche market? I mean, Emma, like from your school, like, if we have somewhere to do a little talk, are we going to get anyone? They're going to have their kids with them.
I mean, when you said talks, something that did come to mind was, what if one of them was the kids talking about something? Because then it's more powerful. You're going to have their parents will definitely watch it because they're like, oh, my child is talking about blah blah blah, and that's something that would engage them. But the way I would say our parents are and things, I think you would get them to come in. I think you would get people that would come and sit and talk. And we've got like mics and speakers and stuff like that because we use them for sports day and things. And we have and we've got the space for it. It's just I guess you're just thinking about what they'd be. What would the talks be about? And who
are you suggesting that there could be potentially students from your school who could be the presenters for that? Obviously, that would take some organisation with whoever leads those kids in presenting to them. But I think it sounds like a lovely idea because it also emphasises the fact that we are doing this for our future generations, and they are the future generation.
And you could do, possibly something, just an idea, kind of like a eco poem or an eco poster competition or something for them, and then they're displayed at the event, the boot sale as well. Because again, if your child's got a poster up, as a parent, you'd go to look at the poster, and then there's a boot sale, I'm going to buy a few things and I'm going to listen to events. It kind of then makes it more enticing for parents, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And that wouldn't, and we could consider opening that not just to your school, Emma, but kind of putting that out there that if people have children that would like to enter, then come along on the day with the poster and with the poem and just put it up on the board. It doesn't need to be kind of pre-planned, and then we could pick someone to kind of choose winners and have a little eco type prize or something. I don't know. for once a teacher, always a teacher, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's just like, oh, let's have a competition.
Emma, you still support the other teachers in Southend area, is that right?
Yes. I mean, when you said about having the eco poster competition and open it out, that's where we can do that.
Schools,
and I can open it out to the other local schools and get them involved too.
Which brings people
we could
from other schools to come to the boot sale.
Yeah, but we could also put it on, the Eco Essex and the rehoming page. We could advertise it on there, couldn't we? Having a boot sale, come along. There's going to be a competition, poster competition, poem competition. Come along with yours on the day.
On the day, who's going to
Yes.
them and choose?
Well, we could just pick someone from the community, couldn't we? I mean, I don't know. We could
like a counsellor.
Yeah.
Or that I imagine with something like that, we've had the mayor come along when we've done tree planting and stuff. Actually, the mayor quite likes us. So, and also I've got connections with our local MP as well. So you could get someone like that to judge.
Yeah.
Is there also a local press as well who've got sort of social media where they post news stories?
Like the Echo?
I know lots of schools have their own Instagram pages and post the events that they do. But I was wondering if there could be potentially some press involvement there as well, if the mayor's going to turn up, etc.
We have links with the Echo as well, yeah. So we can sort of invite them to come along too.
I love the idea of it. My hesitancy is we've doubled the size of the event in regards to the workload that we now need to find the time for.
But don't forget, my PTA would obviously be heavily involved in that as well.
Okay.
And what's really attractive about this is it also looks like it's something for the kids. Which is, I think it probably should be, given being in a school environment.
And if it's the case that they come along on the day with a picture or a poem, then we haven't got to gather anything in, have we? They just come along. It's a bit like cake sales, isn't it? People arrive with their cake, goes on the stall, pick a winner.
Yes.
It's not like we'd be gathering the stuff in and then have to do anything with it. People could just turn up and we might just get like 2 or 3.
Do you have some kind of display board people like pin their poem to or something? Like somewhere? Because presumably it's going to be outside, right? Because boot sales are outside. So
yeah.
I think there's lots to think about in regards to logistics, and I think we probably need 3 months to plan it well, because we need the PTA and we need to have time to regularly meet with them and delegate fairly to lots of people. So
I think we need to get look, probably the first thing is a date, isn't it? Because I'm just conscious that the summer
it's nearly April. You say it's nearly Easter holiday.
It's very busy, and for us alone, we are, summer months are busy, aren't they? With our own things going on, etc. So we need to kind of come up with an agreed date to begin with to make sure we're all available or who's available.
I think realistically, to have 3 months notice, and obviously it's nearly Easter, you're going to be looking at it would be July, which is I don't know how realistic that is, Emma, because I know we originally talked about springtime, but obviously with the changes at the PTA and stuff, it's not happened. So I guess we're really looking at July or the new term, September-ish, October-ish, but then you're getting colder weather. So what do you think would work better, Emma? July or September?
I mean, the other thing to think about, I guess, is summer fates. Once you start getting into the summer and stuff, is that we usually have one as well. But I mean, let me put it to them and see what they think in terms of dates and things.
Okay, just pause for a second. I was going to say, could we combine to the fate somehow? But then that's a whole different event, and I don't know.
Yeah, with cars, I can imagine cars coming on. That's not going to be safe or take up a lot of space, wouldn't it?
It would. I feel like a boot sale would have to be something separate.
I'm wondering whether if we can't organise the boot sale quick enough, because there's going to be a massive, from June, July, it's all fates. Do we at least have a stall or something at your fete with some Chinese idea, like a seed plant swap, and say,
Yeah,
oh,
absolutely.
like we could say, oh, actually, we're coming back in September for a boot sale, and this is what we're going to do. Like, I don't know. Like
definitely having a stall would definitely work. But I mean, I'm not sure what their plans are in terms of the summer fete and things, because I know in previous years it's been like an inflatable focus with the odd stall and the odd food things, but I don't know what their plans are
I would
for this year.
imagine if I was running a PTA and events, I would not want two big events squashed up together.
No,
it's my instinct is that isn't going to work for them. But do you want to have a chat with them, Emma? And I'm going to guess that's probably what they're going to say. I don't know how events work in the new school term, because teachers are like, you know, come back in, you've got a whole new class, new kids and stuff. Although it's mainly PTA, right? Not the teachers.
Yeah, no, especially if it's going to be at a weekend, it will be,
so that's the other idea, is realistically September might work. So maybe put that to them. And if not, if you've got a date for the summer fete, maybe we can try and get along and have a stall and something.
Yeah.
Eco swappy there. Yeah. Okie dokie. Right. Let's move on. Right, key achievements and challenges. Well, we've talked about a few. I've got here that we've obviously saved tons of waste from landfill. We can't measure that exactly, but obviously we've saved lots of waste. And I think also what the rehoming group does is just educate people that there are other ways to dispose of stuff. We don't have to go to the tip and throw it in the bin, for example. I think, like Hannah touched on earlier, there are challenges about running that group, time being the big one, and then obviously the disputes and managing arguments and abuse and stuff like that. The other challenges I've written down here are the resources that we have but probably aren't getting accessed and optimized. So I've got the website here, which we've touched upon, regarding we went to quite a lot of effort a couple of years ago to have it built. A lot of content was put on there, a lot of hours was put onto making it. And the same with our YouTube, actually, because between myself and then Emma's done lots of education videos, there's at least 70 videos on our YouTube channel. And most of them are short and sweet, quite easy to like absorb the information, nothing too kind of challenging. But we don't really have subscribers. I think we've got like, I don't even know, 30 subscribers or something. Let me have a quick look. 30 subscribers, and that's it. So I think one of the challenges we've got is we've actually got really good content and resources, but people aren't using them. And I think that's, I don't really know what to do about that, because I don't really have loads of time to promote stuff either. And I think
is there a way of, obviously you can get statistics on YouTube. Is there a way of getting statistics of thoroughfare on the website at all?
Well, Hannah had that idea earlier, so that is an action for us. So I will contact the web assistant, and ask if we can look at stats, because if there is no traffic to the website, then I don't think we can justify £200 a year on it.
No,
it's a real
because it
shame,
seems obviously on the groups on Facebook and obviously Instagram as well, it's fluid, as in there's information being constantly pumped into it, so it's constantly updated by the contributors to put things on there. As is obviously the rehome group, because all the new posts is fresh all the time. But websites tend to remain very static.
Well, they do, because we don't have time to dedicate to doing anything.
That's it. Yeah, so that's what I'm wondering, whether the website, beautiful as it is, and having spent time helping you to edit it and make sure everything looks like great, I'm wondering if it's a bit of a dead end.
I know.
That's what I'm wondering, really.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think we will get the stats about currently what traffic goes to the website, and then we have about 6 months to make a decision. So the next costs will come out November, I think it is, And I think we probably need to spend 6 months pushing the website. I mean, YouTube doesn't matter because it's free. I'd still like people to access it. This is what I mean. Like, for me, it's about knowing that we've been useful. So I'd still want people to access YouTube, but there's no payment involved. So it's not as big a problem. I think we need to push for the next 6 months the resources on the website. And Emma, like, you know, so we've got the education stuff. So we need to push the education stuff to any people you know in that sector, our education group, any like zero waste PTAE type Facebook groups. And then we've got there's business support and then there's general support. So we almost need to push different resources to different groups of people and see whether those stats change over the website. You know, do we get any more traffic? And if we are flogging a dead horse, then we pull the website, which is a real shame. And I'll be gutted because of the efforts.
It looks fantastic. You know, there's a lot of work's gone into it.
Yeah. I mean, that's where Emma's already education resources are. So we were hoping that it would like bring people to the website. And I don't know, Emma, do you have any feedback yourself about teachers or anything accessing any of it? Do you know?
I think a couple I've heard of have had a look and things. But the problem is that obviously with something like this is that it needs constantly updating and changing because things are always changing. And
Yeah.
you know, it was a while ago that me and Jen put all that stuff together,
Yeah.
and things have changed and moved forward since then.
Yeah.
Tomorrow actually there's a really big sustainability conference at Chelmsford. So I'm hoping to promote some of our stuff there with the teachers and things. But yeah, it's one of those things where I feel like it needs regular updating.
This is the problem.
And that's where the problem is.
Yeah.
But I do think the videos is probably, because I don't know about you guys, but I watch a lot of like short videos about things that I'm interested in, whether it's on Instagram or Facebook, and whether that's a way to kind of get educational snippets in, like quick short videos that are useful to teachers, and they're easier to upload and kind of get going than spending ages writing and drawing from different sources to put things together for a website. And whether that the videos, and like you said, the YouTube is free, that's the way to kind of make it more accessible to people.
Also, I do think as well with videos, they're almost, well, I think quicker to update. So if you've done a video from 5 years ago and actually you want to redo it because things have moved on, you know, you can record 5-10 minutes and you're done, hopefully without too much planning. Whereas when you write a whole new piece of content, you might be there for an hour. But it's hard to know because we don't get the hits on YouTube either. But it's like anything, we need the time to constantly remind people that these resources exist. So I think really the next 6 months, we've got to push the website to find out whether it's being used. I don't think we should spend loads more time on the website in regarding changing it or adding stuff to it, because I think if we're going to pull it, the last thing we want to do is dedicate more time to it. But I do think we just need to push people and remind them that it's there. And then we look at the stats and see whether we keep it or not. Yeah.
Yeah.
So future visions of the group. So I don't know about you guys. I know we've talked about it before. I think that there's a couple of really helpful things that would be amazing, would be a couple more moderators on the rehoming group. So we've got Mark and Sue, but realistically with 4 hours a day, you really do want 2 or 3 more people. So Sam and Hannah have got a list of people. So if you guys contact them after today and make some progress, that would be amazing, wouldn't it? That would help you guys out.
So are we going to at some point kind of decide what the process is? Is it just a case of the ones that have volunteered, we kind of say, right, okay, and we give them access?
So I think normally what we do is we meet with the people like virtually.
Yeah.
Just make sure that any ambassadors are in line with our kind of general ethos, that they, that they understand the group rules. So if it's about the rehoming group, like maybe going through those rules and why we have those rules. Yeah. And going through the two main duties are accepting the posts. And then, Hannah, are you saying that you don't have to do anything with members now? They just turn up in the group, is that right?
Yes, but I know it's more work and that's why we need more ambassadors, but I would like to put person approval back on.
Yeah.
So Facebook took it away from us. And when we put the group to be in public, but it is now an option to put back on.
Okay.
But for the reasons of, we do have a lot of people. When I looked at the stats earlier, there are people from all over the world in the group, and I think
ridiculous.
Why do we have 300 members? That was, I can't remember which country it was.
Another country.
Israel. But there was hundreds in other countries.
Yeah.
Which I don't understand. We get a lot of spam posts. I'm sure all of us have declined them recently, of like pictures of bags of money.
Yes.
And like rubbishy videos. Those are all by accounts, which we would read out because they're not real accounts, and you can see just from a glance.
Well, they're bots, aren't they? A lot of them.
Yeah. And also the fact that we've got 8,000 members interacting as guests or visitors, I think they call them. Because I've had a couple recently where someone's reported a comment and I've gone on to try and block the person who's put like a horrible comment, and the option to block isn't there, and it's because they're not actually a member of the group. So you can't block someone who's not joined up to be a member.
That seems really weird, doesn't it?
Because it's a public group.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, whereas a personal Facebook page, you could block anyone, couldn't you?
So do you want to start that function straight away, or do you want to wait until you've got the ambassadors on board so you don't get overwhelmed with more jobs to do?
It depends. I mean, I don't know. We haven't done it for a long time. I don't know how much work it's going to be. I don't know if we put it back on for a week and we see how much work it is.
Yeah.
And review in a week.
Yeah.
If we think it's way too much with the few of us we've got, obviously we've got Mark back, so that's going to take some of it. Or if we wait to have ambassadors, but I'm conscious by the time we've done that, that's not necessarily a quick process of getting ambassadors.
Okay. Why don't we do it as trial then? Yeah.
Yeah, and I can update in our chat on how we go after a week.
Yeah, do that. Switch the function on then, and let's see how that goes. It sounds good.
Yep, will do.
The other things, I think if we could wave a magic wand of like what support we'd need, I think if we had somebody dedicated to the website, it could make a difference. So a real website savvy person. I mean, I don't even understand how to check it for viruses and updates. So I've never done them in 2 years. There's loads outstanding, but and I think somebody that was quite savvy with what's going on locally would be great, because I used to be quite on the ball with everything that's going on with the councils and stuff like that, and events and things like that, and updates. And I'm not anymore. And I think having a kind of link with Essex County Council somehow would be really helpful. So we could almost bring our forces together. Do you know what I mean?
We also need to be aware of the changes that are happening with the within Essex County Council in regards to the separate councils. There's now going to be just 5 over the whole of Essex, rather than the current, I think it's about 12.
I did not know.
So yeah, there's kind of been, we're going to lose things like Castle Point Council, Basildon Council, etc., and it's going to be kind of one council, but I believe separate 5 separate areas.
Isn't Essex County Council itself getting disbanded and split up as well?
There's a lot of changes taking place. I mean, it's looking like it will be over a 3-year time span. I
heard about that over at Castleview School the other day.
Yeah, Southend and Thurrock are part of that as well. But yeah, that's as far as I know. But obviously, I know about it from a kind of education point of view rather than a whole point of view. But it's bound to create changes.
That sounds like an absolute logistical nightmare.
I was just thinking about the website, because I'm thinking about like school websites, for example. And obviously, Emma's probably got a school website as well for primary school. is there tends to be obviously all the static information that you get on the links, but on the homepage there tends to be almost like rolling news items, like the latest and things that are going on. And when you're saying about if there was a dedicated person who could pump things onto the Eco Essex website, um, I guess the only thing that's holding it back is it's very, very static as a website.
Yeah.
Whereas if the sort of information that we're seeing getting posted on the Facebook page and the Instagram page was also getting pumped into the website, so there was rolling, refreshed, here are
Yeah.
the
Well,
events
they can
coming
keep
up, here
boosting the
are,
algorithms.
etc.
Yeah, the SEO search and stuff like that. Yeah. But you'd
You
also
know,
need somebody who knows what's going on locally to then put it on the website, or at least tell the person with the website. See what I mean?
yeah.
So you've got a website person who would do the website stuff, but that could be somebody completely different to the person who's completely aware of everything that's going on to then write a blog about it or write an update.
Because it'll always encourage people to go to the website to see let's see our website for the latest information or the
And
latest
I think
news,
that's where we'd
whatever.
need really close links with the councils to do that,
Yeah.
which obviously involves more time,
Mm.
liaisons and stuff. Okay, so what are our future plans? Well, potentially the boot sale we've said about. For me, my objective is to build those links a little bit more with Love Essex and Essex Climate Action again, because I have one particular idea I've got, which I'll talk through you guys. So I've been to the tip a couple of times lately, which I will not bore you with my stories here. But they're quite entertaining. But what I've realized is, I witness a lot of people dumping stuff that doesn't need to be dumped. And it's kind of heartbreaking. I literally wanted to take stuff out of people's hands to say, this could be rehomed. And what I would love is something that we can collaborate with Love Essex, who run all the recycling centres and the website and stuff, is to say, like, when you book your recycling slot, this is Essex, not Southend, by the way, or Thurrock. When you go to book your slot at the tip, something that kind of comes up saying, have you considered rehoming your items? And here are all the places you could rehome your random junk. So almost to get people to rethink before they just dump it. And so that is my current aim, is to link with Love Essex about that and see if we can kind of somehow work with them on that project. Don't know what you guys think.
I think it's a
Sounds
great
good.
idea
Great idea.
because it's almost like before you do this,
Yeah,
have a
have you
think
thought about
about it.
options? Yeah.
And if, you know, I don't know what Love Essex would think about advertising the rehome group, for example,
Well, that would
but I
be
think it would be a very, very good diversion. I personally, as a relative newcomer to all this, I think, I don't know if 80% is an exaggeration, Sam, but pretty close to that. The amount of tat that I've removed from my house while I've been decluttering, I would say as close to 80% as possible has been got rid of in the rehome group,
I
and
wouldn't
20%'s
say
gone to
80%.
landfill.
I wouldn't 80% on the rehome group, but I do think 80% of your stuff has been rehomed. But I think some of that has gone to the charity shop, the good stuff. And then
Yeah.
obviously I've encouraged you to rehome the other stuff that you would have dumped had you not, known about the group.
But it's
I
literally
had
tat like
something.
empty perfume bottles. I had someone saying, "Oh, I like an empty
Yeah.
perfume bottle collection."
Yeah.
These are things you would never think of, and you put out of the glass recycling.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
But I had someone come into my house saying, "Oh yeah, I could do with that." And I thought they were having a laugh, and I put it outside the front door, and it was gone that afternoon. So it's amazing the things that people are interested in taking from you when you don't want it anymore.
When we think about the
And
weight hierarchy now, like there's Jen Gow's one's got 8 levels, and the very first level is rethink now, and that's almost what we need to do, is to get people to be rethinking about it, and actually before they dump it, just go, hang on a minute, oh, somebody actually might want this, like I could post this somewhere else on another group. So that's kind of what I'm thinking. Sorry, I think there's other people trying to talk. Hannah, was it you or Bryony?
No, I was going to say I had something from Mark, didn't I? I had that bath
Oh yes,
shelf.
yes, yeah, you
oh
did.
yeah, you could put the glass of wine on and a book.
Yeah, yes, I love it.
That's right. Good idea. Yeah,
So
golly
yeah,
gee.
so that's kind of one of my, I suppose, future plans. And I think with
Oh.
I think we need to.
Do you think Love Essex would be obviously interested in advertising the Rehome Group on that website
That's
before?
what I need to find out. And I'm not about, it's not about being biased. I mean, realistically, we don't really care where it gets rehomed. So there are
True.
sites, there's like Freegal, which I think is connected to the council, and even Facebook Marketplace, you can still put free stuff on there. So it doesn't really matter where people do it. So it's almost like some kind of alert to say, have you considered any of these options?
Yeah, and actually, if I put like a list of
Yeah,
possible people, of
yeah,
which rehome is one,
exactly.
then at least it's providing a variety of solutions. And surely that would be within Love Essex's philosophy to
Yes,
try and reduce the amount of landfill by
exactly.
utilising those like us who are willing to help.
Yeah. So that is my aim. So I will lead on that liaisons in hope that I have some progress. Yeah, so the only thing I was going to say about events is I think we need to be realistic about events. I haven't taken any up, I don't think, in the last year. Emma, I know you have good links with the Castle Point one, and you said there was quite a good footfall. That would be a good
Yes,
one for us, didn't you? I think.
I've signed up for two here in Castle Point that Tracy Bliss is organising. So there's the Benfleet one, which is at Woodside Park, which is just around the corner from where I live, and then there's going to be one on that one's the 1st of June, I think, and then there's one on Canvic in George V playing fields, which is in the beginning of July. But she has all of her stalls are already booked out. But me and the climate action group have got like two stalls, I think, between us. So if you wanted to kind of get in on the action, we could share with you guys as well. So just something to bear in mind. But I know that last year, I mean, I don't know how the Canby one's going to go because I think it's the first time they're doing a Canby one, but the Benfleet one last year was really popular.
Mm-hmm. Do you want to tell us the dates and Sam can document them in the minutes? That will be quite handy to know. Do you know them? Sorry, put you under the
Yeah, the Benfleet one was the 1st June. Let me just double check the King George one.
Which one was sold out in regards to stalls?
Oh, both of them.
Both of them. Do you think we could get on either of them with your stalls then? If we,
yeah. Oh, yeah. You could totally like share with us. That's not a
okay.
problem. I mean, I'm doing the litter picking for it, so Tracy owes me one anyway. Picking up all the litter afterwards.
Tracy will support us.
Yeah, exactly. She loves you.
Yeah.
It's fine. Well,
She'll raise money for us.
just trying to find the date. King George V. I know it's the beginning of July. Oh, I know I'm on the group and I just can't
Have
see
a
it.
think and see if you can find it and let us know. So maybe it would be nice to do. I think we need to be realistic. I think more than one or two events a year, or like if we did one boot sale a year and then one other event a year, like that's a success in our lines because we don't have enough people to man the stalls, So we'll try and keep not trying to do too many, I think. Don't want to bite off more than we can chew in terms of time. Okay, that was kind of everything in the agenda. Is there anything else that anybody would like to say? Bryony, I know you're kind of busy in the background. Have you got any other feedback or suggestions or ideas? Or Mark?
My only thoughts is, yeah, I love the idea of sorry, Mark, of involving more kids and kind of spurring up a little bit of enthusiasm in them to help out.
Bryony, do you think if we did something in the home ed community,
Yeah.
what could we do?
Yeah, I really don't know, to be honest. I have been thinking whilst whilst
There's no
listening
reason
in.
why they couldn't join in the competition of poems and stuff like that, is it?
Yeah,
Doesn't make any difference.
competitions, the usual litter picks, more tabletop sales as well. But obviously they could get involved in any boot sales. No reason why they can't do that as well.
Yeah. Our home ed kids love a tabletop sale, don't they? They love
Yeah.
making things and selling stuff.
Yeah. And anything educational as well. I was thinking like different people that do different talks, like the Carol lady that I mentioned earlier,
Yeah.
the organic gardener person. She could do talks for kids. There's the Bee Man, isn't there? There's the Essex Honey, other
Yeah, there's also the
sustainability things. Get Trust Links to do a talk. But,
yeah, good idea. We'd need to find venues to do that if we're looking at doing that in the home ed community.
yeah, I mean, somewhere like Trust Links would probably be quite a good venue. I think we should try and link in to other charities like that.
Yeah, good idea. We'll talk separately about that, I think.
Okay, nice one. Well, thank you for having the meeting. I'm going to bail out in a minute.
Yeah, go on. Thank you for
And well done for all your work as well.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Mark, any other suggestions or thoughts?
No, I guess the one I'm most concerned about is the amount of money that's going to the website, and I'm really curious to know where it's going really, because it's beautiful, but I'm worried if it's a financial black hole.
I think we've got 6 months to worry about it because there's
Yeah.
no other outgoing costs now until November.
Yeah, it's subscribed
So I
until
think
then.
it's
So
just
yeah,
about
but other than that, no, I think it's just keeping the momentum going, and I do believe that of all the groups, the one that I think is successful is that rehome group, because the sheer buy-in of people who are getting rid of things on a regular basis. So that seems to be,
oh yeah,
you
absolutely.
know,
It's where
yeah.
people are. I guess my only other lasting question is with regarding the Eco Essex group itself. Where do we want to go with it? Because it isn't the same, like we said, like it used to be. It's not really encouraging engagement. Have we got any suggestions? Do you think people are just swamped with knowledge now? Like when we started it 7 years ago, it was all like coming out, we had XR, we had Greta, and everyone was like, oh, holy moly, we need to be thinking about the climate, and we set up Eco Essex. But do you think now there's just so much more knowledge now that people don't need it? I mean, I don't know, because it's just like all my algorithm tells me is eco stuff. So I don't know whether everyone else's algorithms do that or whether.
I wonder if there's a degree of novelty bias as well. That when something starts, there's a lot of novelty there, and people are sort of pumping into it, and then after a while, the novelty wears off, and then people start doing other things. I also wonder, again, I don't know whether it's true or not, but with the COVID lockdown that we had back in 2020, whether people would have had more time to go in there and do things, and some momentum started up then. But now everyone is back at work again, and things are now post-COVID. People are engaging less because they're going out more.
Yeah.
And
I do think as well, alongside that, it was set up before COVID, and then since it's been set up, there's been, some quite major things that people were dealing with on a daily basis, such as COVID, cost of living crisis, money problems, etc., etc. Some big deals happening for people in life. So potentially being eco has kind of got pushed to the back of their personal agenda, which you can kind of understand for some people, losing jobs and such. People weren't able to. I mean, I know for one, I couldn't spend as much money on going and buying loose products, because they're a lot more expensive than packaging products. So I had to kind of make decisions not to go and sort of to refill shops as much. And obviously, that I think that's probably lots of things have happened in the last 5 years, haven't they, for most people?
So do you think if I was able to find any time to kind of push social media posts, do you think relating it to saving money would be helpful? Because there are some things that save, right? Sustainability overall, way of living.
Yeah. I think we need to fit it in with, the general current situation that most people are finding themselves in or concerned about and worried about. So if there was ways to save money on your electric bills and your gas bills through eco ways, that's a win-win, isn't it? It's eco and it's also saving money. Kind of getting people's interest that way.
Okay.
And also, I mean, not trying to advertise certain things, but since I've started using Octopus Energy, I've been very impressed by they actually give you money, don't they, Sam, if you use energy at certain times of day?
Like referral codes and stuff are great for Octopus.
Yeah. So there's things like that, but yeah, I agree. if we move with the zeitgeist, if we move with the times, then that money saving thing, I think, is quite a powerful angle.
Yeah,
So maybe
that's
that's what we
at the
focus on.
forefront
Okay.
of a lot of people's minds now, isn't it? That ways to kind of try and save some money.
Yeah.
Because everything's so incredibly expensive, isn't it? And such.
Okay. So if I
I've
say,
just got to say goodnight to.
yeah, what I'll do then is any posts that I do, I can try and make it
Sorry,
relevant
it's
to that.
bedtime. Come on. Sorry, it's bedtime. Try and get the dog to stop recording.
No, still recording, Sam.
And Sam, also linking that to the waste hierarchy as well, because obviously the waste hierarchy kind of also saves money.
Absolutely. Yeah. That's what I'm saying. If people actually learn what sustainable living is, you save money overall. But individually, like Sam said, individually, if I make the decision to just swap my rather than buy my Asda fruit and veg and I buy it from an organic box, yes, that individual swap is more money, or my organic skincare is more money. But overall decisions like buying secondhand everything else then overall saves you money, and it's about educating people about that.
And I think as well a lot there's quite a big movement around people doing things that are eco but they wouldn't realize it. I mean, I know that most of my friends who used to buy new clothing now all use vintage. So they're being very eco and they're not really
I think
realizing the impact they're having.
There was some kind of stat, isn't there? I think it's in the last year that like the second-hand clothing market has now increased. Like it is now
massively, which has been pushed because of the cost of living.
Yeah. Okay. Anything else, or should we round it up? Yeah. Okie dokie. I'm gonna try and learn how to stop recording. Don't know. I'm going to end. If that means I end up saying goodbye. Oh no, hang on. Here you go.